돌립니다. 갓 태어난 아기입니다. 베이비 박스가 열리는 순간 교회 안엔 벨이 울리고 비상이 걸립니다.
Growing up, I never completely understood how to fit into my Korean American shoes. To this day, I stand somewhere within a blurred region, which I'll call the middle for now. I'm what you'd call a 1.5 generation Korean American, born in Korea but raised in America, long enough to be confused about which counterpart weighs more heavily in the equation of my identity. My parents are first-generation Korean American immigrants. At home, I always felt an unspoken tension with them, and I'm not the only one. Deborah Kim is a senior, studying a curriculum she designed herself at NYU's Gallatin School of Individualized Studies. David Nam is a senior at NYU's Stern School of Business. Both are second-generation U.S.-born Korean Americans. Tensions rise under constraints of traditional Korean customs, and gaps in communication emerge, where both generations experience a divide in culture, language, and societal values. First-generation Korean Americans carry a lineage of strife that extends back into war history of the early 1950s, when Korea, unlike today, was a poor nation. Foreign education increasingly gave people an edge in society. The Immigration Act of 1965 created the first major wave of Korean individuals seeking better opportunities. My parents were among many chasing the American dream. My father's first job in the U.S. was on a cruise ship. He then moved on as a manager at a restaurant where he still works today. My mother has been working at nail salons for almost 20 years. When my parents came, they didn't have much, but they carried over their Korean ways.
예, 김 박사님이세요.
Professor Pyonggap Min teaches sociology at Queens College. In 1972, he immigrated to the U.S. to continue his education.
Definitely, when we were young, terrible life in South Korea. So we remember that, so we are very patient. We are satisfied with what we have, but often, second generation, they were born here, they don't know. I worked as janitor, see? I came to Georgia State University, and at the time, white people and a lot of blacks doing manual work, and, I worked day and night, just at the time, no Korean businesses, Yeah, that's minimum wage, 175.
How's it going?
David's parents ran a small business selling computer software when they settled in America.
They didn't make a lot of money, but they made a modest income. With that income, they supported a family of 4. The one thing I would definitely say that was a big barrier and that me and my parents had to really come to adjust to was how in the U.S. it's very flat. The hierarchy is very, very flat. But in Korea, there was a lot of, you had to show a lot more respect for the elders. And so having seen this, at first obviously growing up in American culture, it was not the easiest thing to just accept.
I think Korean immigrant parent, middle-aged, older people are armed with Confucian etiquette, and from that point of view, second generations are not polite to parents. The way they speak is different, appear to no respect for parents and other elders.
Filial piety is deeply rooted in Korean society. Fulfilling the wishes of your parents is a form of obedience. It's an area many second-generation Korean Americans cannot deliver, feeling sorry, guilty, and sometimes even shameful.
I love dancing. I really love the arts. And I think that I'm meant to be an artist. And I feel like the things that I've always pursued was never stable financially and just career-wise.
Oh, it's your birthday? Sunday.
Song Hee-song is an auditor for New York State Department of Financial Services. She is a single mother and lives with her daughter in Staten Island, where she has resided for 17 years.
It hurts me actually to, tell you the truth. The first time I keep trying to change her mind.
I feel really happy, really simply. I don't remember. I feel very expressive and I think very focused, like in my dancing. It's liberating and it's really personal too. I've always kind of had like a free, adventurous, stubborn spirit, and I felt like that wouldn't honor my parents because I was indebted to the money they spent on like school and like raising me and just like investing so much in me, and like I don't know how else to like pay them back,
But as a parent, and I always hope they take a little more easy way and not the hard way. And then I explained to my daughter one time, if your son coming to you and then he said, "Mom, I want to be a boxer," and then you are not the one who will be hit, but you still feel pain.
When Song-hee first came to America in 1989, learning how to speak English was a challenge.
That time my wish or dream was if I can go to the bank and I can open my own bank account by myself and without anybody's help, that would be great. That was my dream that time.
뭐라고? 아니 거기서 닦아야 돼 그것도? If anything, the language barriers kind of made them seem inferior. They didn't know the language, meant you were dumb. And I think even to a degree, I myself kind of fell into that. And even till today, I go to school. We go to a prestigious school, in that I also have a very bright future ahead of me. And in a way, whatever opinions that they may say, even though they lived like 40 years my senior, I would still say, I don't think you're right, or I don't think you know what's going on.
Okay, next, please.
Grueling hours spent at work, most commonly known as the corner delis and dry cleaners, characterize Korean American parents as diligent and sacrificial. Today, about 1,400 greengroceries and 2,000 dry cleaning businesses are run by Koreans in New York City alone. Fruits of their labor are dedicated to their children's future. Receiving a good education equates to tangible success in the minds of many Korean American parents. It is the only way to move forward, and it's an equation not everyone can solve.
I was able to achieve my parents' form of success. In other words, my parents were looking out for me all the way, making sure that I can fend for myself, I can provide for myself. So I was at public school until 2nd grade, and my teacher said that I was not sufficient, or I wasn't learning in a very steady rate, that I would have to go into what they would call the special ed program, actually. And so my mom and my dad were furious, obviously, at the school administration, and decided, you know, my son needs a second chance. He's gonna stop going to public school and they're gonna go to private school. Now you have to understand, private school is not cheap. That is coming out of your pocket, and my parents, who are not exactly the most wealthy individuals, were paying not only for me, but also for my brother. They were supporting this until I actually graduated out of high school. So I'm gonna go into accounting with one of the big fours, PwC, and being able to get up to that level, the moment I first work, I will make more than what they made combined.
Under Confucian tradition, parents regard their children not only as a reflection, but extension of themselves. Physical provision often overrides emotional needs. A barrier in the relationship can cast the simple phrase, "I love you," beneath the shadows.
I was so bad. I was so bad, the whole time, because I think it's our cultural background, because in Korea, we don't express, the love to the children that often.
사랑해. 좀 이따 다시 전화 드릴게. It was my first time saying I love you to my mom in Korean.
What did she say?
I really didn't give her the chance to give me a response.
And even I had a problem there too. Yeah, but yeah, we should change. Yeah, but again, it's difficult to change.
I think it's a part of growing up, and it's kind of like growing in, like within each other. Because we have to grow into like a certain culture too, I think, together. And that's having like two cultures in the house kind of. It's a different culture when that happens. So, yeah.
Pains of generational differences, the miscommunications and unmet expectations. But in the end, I know deep inside that they had meant for my own happiness. And all it took was to bridge the gap of the great Korean-American divide, meeting each other somewhere within a blurred region, which I'll call the middle for now.